"Excuse me, sir," the flight attendant said, eyes flicking nervously. "We're going to have to ask you to move to economy. It's a matter of company protocol." I blinked. I had just buckled my seatbelt in 1A, first class. "Company protocol?" I asked. "Yes," she said, a little quieter now. "A board member of Hemsley & Co. is boarding shortly. It's urgent." Funny, because I was the board member. In fact, I owned the company now. But I smiled and unbuckled my seatbelt. "Sure," I said calmly. "No problem at all." The day had started off like any other. "My name is Darius Reed, 43, former tech founder turned investor. Tall, well-kept, always in blue suits and silver cufflinks. A habit my mother instilled in me early on. Dress like the seat you want, not the one they try to give you. Today that was seat 1A on a 7:15 a.m. flight from Chicago to New York. Destination, Midtown Manhattan. Purpose, a surprise announcement at the quarterly board meeting for Hemsley & Co., a legacy conglomerate with a shaky future and bloated leadership. Until now. Because I'd just acquired controlling interest, 52% of the shares. Quietly, methodically. The board had no idea. The only person expecting me was the founder's secretary who'd helped coordinate my appearance under wraps. They thought I was coming in as a guest consultant. I was coming to introduce myself as the new chairman of the board. I got to the gate early, coffee in hand, boarding group 1, everything smooth, until it wasn't. When I reached my seat, I noticed a couple of glances. Nothing aggressive, just that polite, performative curiosity. I'd gotten used to it. The way some people looked when someone like me was in first class, alone, without visible luggage or a luxury name tag. The man sitting across from me in 1B smiled faintly. He was older, white, in a pinstripe suit. Classic briefcase. I knew who he was even before he introduced himself. Howard Briggs, longtime board member of Hemsley. I'd seen his face in shareholder reports. He glanced at me once, then twice, then leaned slightly toward the flight attendant as she walked by. They spoke quietly. 5 minutes later, she returned with that smile, the one trained to look harmless but feel sharp. "Sir, there's been a seating issue. We'll need to relocate you to economy." I looked her in the eyes. "Is there a problem with my ticket?" "No, sir, it's just, there's a company board member flying today and—" I nodded before she finished. I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. That wasn't my aim, not yet. "I understand," I said, happy to help. She blinked, surprised at how easy I made it. Howard didn't even look at me as I stood. Back in seat 18C, the world looked different. The seats were tighter, the coffee worse, the conversations louder. But the energy? Real. Honest. The man next to me was wearing a denim jacket and typing fiercely on a laptop. Startup guy, probably. We got to talking. His name was Malik. He was trying to get funding for a sustainable textile business. I smiled. He had no idea he was talking to someone who could cut him a check in a minute. But I didn't say anything. I listened, took his card, encouraged him. Meanwhile, I saw Howard through the curtain, reclined, champagne in hand, laughing with someone across the aisle. He still didn't know who I was, and I preferred it that way. When the plane landed, I let Howard get off first, watched him strut down the gate, briefcase swinging. I waited till most of the passengers had left, shook hands with Malik, then walked calmly toward the car, waiting outside. The driver opened the door. "Mr. Reed, welcome to New York." "Thank you, Albert," I said, sliding into the back seat. Albert handed me a folder with the morning's itinerary. 8 NABU a.m. Arrive at Hemsley & Co. Headquarters. 8:15 a.m. Enter under alias consultant. 8:30 a.m. Boardroom reveal. 8:35 a.m. Address and vision statement. 9 a.m. Company breakfast, optional. I grinned, sipping the espresso Albert had waiting for me. They made me sit in the back of the plane. Let's see how they handle me sitting at the head of the table. As we pulled up to the skyscraper in Midtown, I adjusted my tie and stepped into the sunlight. It was time to change more than a seat. It was time to change the entire direction of the company.